Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't, under any circumstance, review a car without first driving it, which we've actually just done. And it's something that, well, our team and myself have really come to enjoy. With hybrids already out, like the Corolla Cross and the new Yaris Cross even, or even non-hybrids like the Mazda CX-30, you might think that GWM is either very foolish or very brave to come up with a hybrid immediately off the bat. While beauty is most definitely in the eye of the beholder, some people will like the way that it looks. Other people, not so much. But the beauty about this car is the secrets that lie underneath. But before all of that, allow me to properly introduce you to the 2023 GWM Haval Jolion HEV DHT Supreme. Whew. Are you looking to compare prices for your brand new car? Well then, visit AutoDeal.com.ph, select the car that you want, and choose to request for a quote from our network of over 500 official dealer partners nationwide. Within minutes, you'll start receiving offers from the dealers you've selected. All that's left is for you to select the deal that's best for you. Get the best deal on AutoDeal. Right off the bat on the front clip, this particular insignia is quite large for me, a little too large. Maybe perhaps could use a little bit of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of a thing. Everything else, however, it does work on its own. Look, the grille is very nice. What follows down here is actually pretty good because it matches. The lights are pretty. The DRLs are found up here, your repeaters down by the side, these lights come on. It does even a little bit of a dance when you start the engine and so on and so forth. It does work. However, we feel that the cohesiveness of all of these things might just need a little bit of help. On its own, however, it does look pretty good. Down the side, we'll start from the bottom up. You're looking at 168 millimeters of ground clearance. Not a lot, but most definitely sufficient for a crossover. 18-inch wheels with 55 series tires, disc brake front and rear, great stopping power since it's all disc brakes. You've got repeaters on your side mirror with cameras on your side mirror that add to your 360-degree view, chrome sidings around the windows, and then a nice accent up on the roof. Not much else to report except for one other feature. The anti-coding badge. Ooh. I like how the lights on the rear mimic those up front. I like too that there is a massive third brake light. What I don't like so much here at the rear is that the wiper is so wee, it's so tiny. Granted, the back glass isn't the biggest, but I would have liked a bigger wiper just for safety. I also like how in this particular crossover, it doesn't like go around the lights and whatnot and for the fifth door. I like the fact that it's cut straight. I like that. There's symmetry in that. I also like the fact that there are no fake exhausts on this automobile, which Jack is probably doing jumping jacks right now. But I do think, as does the team, there's a lot going on when it comes to logos. You got Haval here, but it's a GWM. Shouldn't the GWM be here? Should the Haval be here? The HEV I can work with because it's color blue, and then the model name, Jolion, is right there. There's a lot really going on. And this, I don't know if these diffusers create some vortex that is really not quite necessary. I don't know. This I do like though. The fog lamp at the rear, I think that's very important, especially when it becomes very, very foggy in the Philippines. Hey, it happens. Have you seen of our other videos? Check them out. The links are somewhere down below. Sometimes Jack couldn't believe how foggy it is. Again, overall, it's a pretty decent looking car. Not really in the upper leagues of style compared to the competition, but like I said, just hold your horses until we get to the drive of this car because when you do finally step inside the Jolion, you feel like it's ballin' because there is white on the dash, white on the seats, white even in the center console or the storage box. It's like ordering a vanilla latte at Starbucks. There's a lot of white in here. It's like watching the movie White Chicks. There's just white everywhere. I will tell you that I do like the fact that you can turn the air conditioning on immediately with the button right here. And you can turn the audio on immediately with the button right here. So that's good. Unfortunately, you can't control the air immediately from the buttons or the audio from the buttons, and you have to go into your infotainment screen. So I'll give it maybe about a 75, just a passing grade. Although Earl and Jack are doing this. Nope. They don't like it.
Nope.
Spoiled. They're very spoiled.
Spoiled.
You guys are spoiled. Anyway, to continue, you've got a 12-inch screen. That is a touchscreen infotainment system that has both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The dash has soft touch points, which I like. And then, of course, the white again. The dash isn't so big in itself because it kind of, there's a sharp angle to it so that your knees have a lot of space and you have a great view of the road. The steering wheel it kind of reminds me of somewhat of a Range Rover because the center is white and then you've got these like copper accents found around. It's a no-frill steering wheel, which I like, but the color scheme it's reminding me of something much more premium. Anyway, black with copper stitching around. I kind of like that. There is also, this is the first time I've ever seen a car with extremely minimal piano blacks. Like, yeah, there is around the audio system, but there's none around. There are some shiny places, yeah, but they're not fingerprint magnets. I'm digging it. I'm digging this a lot. Now for the driver, you have this hole here up front. No, it is not a bowl for your chow fan, but rather it is part of your heads-up display, which is colored, by the way. Immediately underneath that, you get your instrument cluster, which is an all-digital affair. I like that. Buttons on your steering wheel for your audio on your left and your cruise on your right, which is nice. In the center, you have a wireless charger, which I like, is very, very good. The rotary dial, I'm okay with it. A lot of people are like, just give me a conventional stick, but I don't mind it at all. There's some good spaces to put your phone and whatnot, and let's say, for example, Earl's report cards and whatnot. Then you have your cup holder found in the center and a pretty deep box back here. That's quite deep. To sum everything up, from the driver's perspective, or rather my perspective, the parts of this automobile are good by themselves. But when you put it all together, it's kind of, bounces off each other not so well. Sort of like the front clip of the car. I like the white. I really do. I like the copper accents that you find inside the automobile. I even like this faux carbon fiber that you find here on its own, but when you put it together, I don't know, I'm not sure it's meshing very well. The predominant side of this automobile obviously is the white because you see that all over. It's just I wish that they would have paired a bit more of these plastic things that you find around the car to the white. See, you understand what I'm saying? Anyway, let's see how it is for the passengers at the back. Room, it definitely has a lot of. Here at the back, my goodness. That is my normal driving position. Look at this. Look at that. Bam. Look at the headroom. Bam. And that is part of a moon roof and a sunroof, huh? Look at that. Huge. Now, elbow room as a small adult, yes, I'll say it, is actually okay. But you can fit 3 adults in here without any issues because there is no center tunnel. 0. So putting 3 adults back here, not the most comfortable, but you'll definitely get to where you want to go without having to kill each other. So the white, the white here is similar to what it is up front, and the seats are very flat. I don't know if I mentioned that when I was sitting at the front, but in case I didn't mention it, it is a Haval after all. I mean, it's written on the wall.
Great wall.
A
Great wall.
Yes, a great wall. Yes, we got that, Jack. 2 air vents found up front, one for the left, one for the right, which is nice. You don't have to fight over it. Also, charging points, you don't have to fight for it because there are 2. There are ISOFIX tethers inside this automobile, which oddly enough is some cousins of mine were telling me that I should report that more often because they are looking at automobiles that can fit their families. So yes, there are ISOFIX tethers inside this car, as well as a center armrest with 2 cup holders. There are bottle holders on either door that can fit my red bottle. I'm sorry I just didn't bring it today, but most definitely not Jack's yellow bottle because that is ridiculous. Now, speaking of family, let's find out just exactly how much you can load inside this automobile. The total amount of cargo space that you have at the back is 430 liters. I thought it was actually much less because the lip is quite high. I lost a bet to Earl because you can fit a balikbayan box with space on either side. So I owe Earl lunch, one singular shomai. That's all I'm getting you, one shomai, skinny boy. When you take the balikbayan box out, thanks Earl, so it's flat, like I mentioned. Obviously, a heck of a lot more when you fold the second row. Then you can fit up to a maximum of 3 balikbayan boxes with space on either side for even more. Now, the reason why this is so high, oh, and by the way, I gotta mention this. This is like a really, really cute fire extinguisher. Now, the reason why this is so high is because when you lift her up, you will find the battery of the engine here at the rear. And then even more so when you look deeper, you'll find the batteries itself of the HEV system. So instead of being underneath the car, they're actually here, which occupies obviously a lot of space. Which begs to ask, if the batteries and the weight of the batteries are closer to the rear of the automobile, how does that affect the balance of the car? You'd think it would affect it a lot, right? No, not really. The car still drives pretty good, which I would love to show you. Now, just like any other person out there, when you're done doing your grocery shopping, make sure you take the cart back to where it belongs. Why isn't it moving? This is a really big cart. Earl, I need your help. Push. Come on. Put your back into it, man. Well, don't break the car, Earl. It's not ours. When you open her up, you are looking at a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder series parallel hybrid that produces, are you ready? 186 horses. Okay, get this. 375 Newton meters of torque. Yeah, those numbers are correct. Now, it is not mated to a CVT, a DCT, or your conventional automatic transmission. It's mated to what I referred to earlier in its name, a DHT, which is a dedicated hybrid transmission, which means that, well, it's kind of difficult to explain, but I will show you just exactly how it feels like to drive this automobile. Oh, a lot of fun, lots of fun. And in case you're wondering, in very bad traffic, this does 12.8 kilometers per liter. Very bad traffic. And on the highway, better than 18 kilometers per liter. But enough chit chat. Let's go for a drive. Before we set off, I first wanted to come to a garage to show you something. Just look at how clear the reverse camera is of this automobile. Look at that! It's like 4K, man! That's wild. And then check out how I can move around with the cameras. Bam! 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 I can spin the car around. Dizzy. Let's get out of here, man. Hey, look! It's Earl! What's he doing here? Yep, even to the car he's a hindrance. When you first set off, you can easily get into your driving position because you have power seats. Unfortunately, where Jack's sitting, there's no power seats there. Fortunately for the driver, the steering wheel does move up and down to help you get into the proper driving position. Unfortunately, there is no telescopic function. Now, that may be just average, but the great thing about driving this car is the fact that there is a one-pedal system. Much like a Nissan's e-pedal, this is much simply called just a one-pedal system, in the sense that when you step on the accelerator, obviously you move forward, but when you release the accelerator, your deceleration is much faster because the car is basically regenerating all that lost momentum as energy to charge the batteries. Because this car, being an HEV, can actually go into full EV mode, saving you so much more fuel. Now, the batteries at the back are actually a pretty big talking point because, as we pointed out earlier, they are at the rear and not underneath the automobile. Now, it was Earl that pointed out that there are other HEVs out there that do the similar thing by putting the batteries in the back and not underneath because the engine is up front. So if you put weight at the back, such as the batteries, the balance of the car actually is much better. And you know what? It really is. going over potholes, bumps, C5 and EDSA and the like, wow, because the car is so balanced and a little bit heavier, obviously, it just goes over these ruts so much easier. Ruts is a bit too much, but you know what I'm talking about. Bumps, potholes, speed bumps, what do you call those, rumble strips. It just feels like the car is very, very stable. And the NVH inside the automobile, because it's heavier, obviously the NVH is going to be better, but I gotta say that the NVH is actually very good in here. I do understand we are at a standstill now, but when we drove this car at 60, 80, even 100 kilometers per hour, wow, very behaved, very tame, very quiet. Quite a comfortable cabin to be in, really. Now, like other cars in the market, this HEV can go on full EV mode, but unlike cars of this price point, this automobile can keep the EV mode running up to 88 kilometers per hour if you accelerate gently. In others, more often than not, it will be much slower than that where the engine kicks in. Now, in this particular case, when the engine does kick in, you can feel it immediately, thanks largely to the dedicated hybrid transmission. See, in other HEVs, you've got the CVT, and you still have to contend with a rubber band feeling. In this dedicated hybrid technology, or rather, sorry, dedicated hybrid transmission, DHT, it is very, very different in the sense that it bites right away. And when it bites inside this car, oh my goodness, does it bite. Because the horsepower may be good, but if you remember, I told you that the torque comes in at 375 Newton meters. So what that feels like is like this. Oh, power and a lot of it. Oh, we got to race it with the pickup truck. That thing's got more torque than me, and yet we're winning.
Don't street race, kids.
Oh, don't do that on the streets, okay? Surprising as it is, well, this still isn't an Audi e-tron. Well, not a lot of cars are. But hey, you could check one out. Links are somewhere down below. Now, as good as this car drives, and the tech in here is actually quite great. The ADAS system is awesome. However, it can be a bit on the intrusive side. Not all of the systems, mind you, just the lane keep assist. It will most definitely really fight you back. And the only reason why I'm not fighting it right now is because we were able to turn the system off. Here's another great thing about it. The fact that you can turn the system off. Yes, granted, it's inside the infotainment system and you gotta dig through to be able to turn it off. But once you do, the system is off, or any function that you don't like, you can turn it off immediately, like the one pedal and whatnot. And the great thing about it too is that once you turn it off, you don't have to dig back in and turn it off again, much like other automobiles where the norm is to just simply turn all those systems back on, then you got to turn everything back on, like let's say for example auto start stop or lane keep assist in other automobiles. Here, once it's off all the time, and that I do appreciate a lot, so thank you. Now, to wrap everything up, I'd say that it's a pretty good car in the sense that it feels good to drive. It's comfortable. Fuel economy is pretty darn good. Acceleration, because of the transmission and the fact that it's an HEV, that the electric motor works really well, it's good. There's a little bit of a downside, which is when you go to other Chinese-made automobiles, you can still smell the glue that they use. So the glue in here, I wouldn't say, if 1 was the worst and 10 was the best, I'd give it maybe about a 4. Could have been better. But the drive itself is really something that will surprise you. And on that note, there is one other thing that will surprise you. Its price. The Haval Jolion is priced at 1,588,000 Philippine pesos. Now, all that money isn't obviously going to just its exterior looks, but it's also going into how it drives, how it rides, and really how it handles. At the beginning of this video, we asked if it was going to be a good idea for GWM to return to the Philippines and off the bat, an HEV. Gonna be brave, or was it gonna be foolish? Well, after driving it, and mind you, it's got all the bells and whistles that you'd be looking for in other market leaders anyway, I'd say it can actually go up against just those, the market leaders, like the Toyota Corolla Cross, or even the newly launched Yaris Cross HEV. So foolish or brave? Yeah, brave. I'd say pretty brave. And well done, too. This episode of Behind the Wheel was shot on location at Ortigas Estates, Circulo Verde. For more information, visit the links in the description below.